Hi everyone and welcome to Bonnie Astrology. Today I'm going to be discussing the full moon in Gemini, which is happening on the 4th of December 2025, and of course what it means for your zodiac sign. As always, if you do enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up to let me know that you like it. It really helps me on the algorithm. And if you would like more regular astrology content from me, feel free to subscribe. I am also taking bookings for 2026, so if you want to know what the year ahead has in store for you, you can visit my website listed in the description box below. But without further ado, let's look at this full moon in Gemini. So this is happening on December 4th, and you will really be feeling the full effects of this full moon in the first week of December, but the full moon effects last in the 2 weeks that follow. So a good portion of December is going to be bringing your focus to wherever the full moon in Gemini is happening in your chart. Now, this also means on a public stage, this full moon is going to bring our attention to the media, to information that comes out at the time of this full moon. It's going to bring up cars, transport, it's going to bring up the schooling system, particularly primary, elementary school, education, early education. But I think for this full moon, the most likely manifestation is about hidden information coming to light. So if we think of Gemini being the media, this is going to be what's coming up in the news. This is going to be what we're talking about. Gemini is communication. And the dispositor of this full moon is Mercury in Scorpio. And Scorpio is all about the hidden, it's about secrets, it's about privacy, and it's about research. So there's going to be conversations about privacy, our privacy, particularly our digital privacy, with Gemini being the internet, with it being technology. That's a big conversation in the United Kingdom right now. And it can also be about hidden information, even scandalous information, with Scorpio coming to light publicly. Now, Scorpio energy is what is private, what is hidden. And it can be, in the darker side of things, quite manipulative. On the positive side of things, it can be research. So maybe research that is actually helpful is going to come to light. And it's interesting because this full moon is actually bending the nodes. So the North Node in Pisces at 13 degrees and the South Node in Virgo at 13 degrees. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So for Mercury to be going through Scorpio and having been doing a research period in Scorpio via the retrograde, maybe this is to do with health. Maybe this is to do with well-being, this research that is coming to light at the time of this full moon. Now, it can also be scandal that is dark, maybe even disturbing with Scorpio information, but it may actually be quite healing to know because Mercury is in a grand trine with Jupiter and Saturn at the time of this full moon. So you can expect hidden information to come to light. You can expect there to be a lot of conversations about privacy, particularly online privacy, digital privacy, our information and how private it is or is not. With this being connected to the bending of the nodes, this full moon, albeit not an eclipse, no, but it is a supermoon and it is squaring the nodes. And the nodes are what actually dictate the eclipses, and they're very fated points in astrology. In fact, some astrologers have said before that if you wanted to know what was going on and you had no access to any of the planets, all you would need to know is where the nodes are. And so with the North Node being in Pisces, we are going towards more of a spiritual connection. And it's interesting because this Mercury in Scorpio grand trine features Saturn in Pisces. So there is spiritual growth here, there's spiritual wisdom here, but it can absolutely be about secrets and private information coming to light, while also being about research coming to light. So you may find at the time of this full moon that you're having very important conversations with other people. They could be sharing with you. People might want to get things off their chest. They might want to share what's going on for them emotionally. This is an air sign, and air signs are more practical. In terms of emotions, they're more about communication and saying what's on their mind. But with Mercury being in a grand trine with Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn in Pisces, there is this sense of sharing emotions and sharing feelings. Who's most affected by this full moon? Well, if you have 12 to 14 degrees of a mutable sign in your charts, that can be a planet, that can be an angle, you will feel this full moon the most as it will be activating that. 12 to 14 degrees of mutable placements. So that would be Gemini, of course, Sagittarius, and then also Virgo and Pisces. You will certainly be feeling this full moon because if you're Virgo or Pisces, you have the nodes affecting you currently. And if you are Gemini or Sagittarius, this full moon is illuminating that point in your chart. So check where it falls. But I will be going into the horoscopes and what this full moon means for all of us individually. You might also notice that people are talking a little bit quicker with the full moon in Gemini. People are chattier, People are wanting to have conversations. It can be quite a social time with a full moon in Gemini, so there can certainly be a lot of events going on. And if there are, it might be quite difficult to get a word in edgewise. So, Gemini full moon, what's coming up for us in general? Ten of Pentacles. So there could certainly be conversations about inheritances. Mercury is in Scorpio, so this could be to do with inheritance. This could be to do with wealth. It could be to do with legacy. Scorpio also represents the eighth house, which is investment banking, taxes, HMRC if you're in the UK. It can be conversations about large chunks of money with the Ten of Pentacles. So certainly there could be conversations coming up about inheritance, about wealth, and about the financial system in general and changes that may be made. And perhaps also who is involved in these different types of areas, these industries, these people might be coming to the fore during the Gemini full moon. So people who work with money, government money in particular, and large organizational bodies connected with finances could absolutely be in the news at this time. So timestamps are listed below for all of the zodiac signs. I hope you have a wonderful full moon. One more thing I want to mention before we go, and I will be touching on this in the horoscopes, but when we have a full moon that is in a T-square with the nodes, it can be somewhat of a karmic crossroads. And if you know Gemini energy and you know tarot, the Lovers card in the tarot is associated with Gemini, and it is also about choices, not just love and romance, it's about choices. And when we have this square energy, this T square with the full moon in the nodes, you could absolutely be a bit of a karmic crossroads in your life. You're thinking, I know something needs to change. This may be the full moon where you get that information, where you get that clarity of thought. Mercury's not in retrograde anymore. It is in shadow until the 16th, but you can absolutely get karmic understanding of where the next chapter lies. It may very well connect your Gemini house and your Pisces house as a new direction, while somewhat moving away from some sort of pattern, maybe a thought pattern in the Virgo part of your chart. But I will be getting into that in the horoscopes as well. Just have a little think about, when it comes to how you think generally, is that maybe due a bit of an upgrade or a change? You don't have to think the same the whole way through your life. It's not necessarily a good sign if you do. So if you notice that the way that you think is changing and shifting, this full moon could be very beneficial to you because you may find the answers in a source that you did not expect. That's what I have for the full moon. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Hi Aries, welcome to your horoscope for the Gemini full moon, which is happening on December 4th. So Aries, for the next 2 weeks, there's going to be a big focus on your communication. So make sure that you have your phone fully charged, you have your emails accessible, you're checking your post because there could be something important coming to you, especially if it pertains to taxes, if it pertains to loans, a financial agreement, and large sums of money. Now this can be positive because Mercury is in a grand trine with Saturn and Jupiter. So you might find that the information that's coming to you is both enlightening and helpful, but it could also be for some of you, if it's not financial, this information or this conversation could be psychological. This could be where you are talking through a pattern, you're talking through something that happened in the past that was difficult for you to deal with. This could be that you're sharing a secret that you wish to share. This could be that you have something to get off your chest, you have something to communicate, or you are talking with somebody about something difficult and you're finding it to be cathartic in nature. You're finding it to be helpful. This is something that is needing to be released for you, Aries, especially because the North Node is going through your 12th house. And that is pointing you in the direction of healing, of releasing and letting go. That's the chapter of life that you're very much in with the North Node, Saturn and Neptune being there. So getting things off your chest, working through grief, working through difficult emotions, healing, releasing, letting go. And I know that that doesn't sound particularly thrilling, but it can be very helpful because, with the South Node going through Virgo, you may need to let go of some highly perfectionistic tendencies, especially when it comes to your job, needing to be right about everything in your job. And I don't mean that in an ego way. I mean needing to get things right the first time, needing to be perfect, feeling like you have all the answers, needing to be the encyclopedia of the office, whatever it is that you feel you're having to put so much so much of an expectation on yourself. And I think that Aries risings in particular, you tend to do that. You have a Capricorn 10th house and you have a Virgo 6th house. So sometimes Aries rising can fall into the workaholic side of things. And I think for you at the moment, Aries, prioritizing your mental health and your well-being is paramount to you, but it could also be something that is coming up with this full moon through talking, through sharing, through saying what needs to be said for you. But as I say, for some of you, it could be financial in nature. This full moon could absolutely be a turning point for you in a financial matter. You could be at a crossroads on an agreement that you have with somebody else financially, or there could be important information that shows you the next steps financially at the time of this full moon. Let's get you a tarot card, Aries. Oh, I dropped it. It is the Six of Pentacles. This is about giving and receiving. So maybe some of you are accepting help at this time. Maybe some of you are going to be very focused on equal give and take in your dynamics. Maybe there is a conversation that needs to be a back and forth. The Six of Pentacles is about sharing, and Mercury being the dispositor in the 8th house, which is to do with sharing wealth between you and someone else. There could absolutely be conversations about financial assets. And if you are offered some sort of help or assistance at the time of this full moon, Aries, I think you should take it. It might be better for you mentally to accept some help. Maybe someone just is helping you with a lot you have going on at work, or maybe someone is a kind ear to listen. But it's a good time to accept help from other people and keep the lines of communication open. That is what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Taurus, welcome to your horoscope for the Gemini full moon. Taurus, this full moon is happening in your 2nd house and it's bringing your finances into focus here. So there may be something that needs to be discussed with somebody else when it comes to your financial situation. This full moon happening in the 2nd house means that there can be a pay rise, there can be a promotion that leads to pay rise, there can be a check that you're receiving, there can be some sort of financial gain from the work that you're doing. Possibly the work that you're doing with someone else through a collaboration. Mercury is in the 7th house, so maybe you are making money as a duo, as a pair. You have collaborated with somebody and it is paying off. But it could also be that you and another person, maybe a relationship that is very close to you, like a significant other or a business partner or a close ally of yours, you could be discussing your values, and you may find that someone else is revealing to you your confidence levels and your self-esteem. So you may find under this full moon that in a conversation with someone else, you realize how much you have grown when it comes to self-esteem and how much you have grown when it comes to being able to self-assure yourself and not needing that validation from somebody else. But for many of you, this could be that there is some sort of financial payout that is possibly linked to you and another person, or money that you're receiving from a client or a business partnership, Taurus. It may also be that you're seeking advice from someone else on how to best manage your finances with Mercury in your 7th house and in this grand trine to your other relationship houses. People might want to help you with your financial situation. People might want to help you build your confidence or build your self-esteem. It could also be a time with the 2nd house where you're paying for something or you are purchasing something significant. And it may be also that you are receiving money from someone else that owes you money, if that is the case. The thing about a full moon is that it tends to reveal. It tends to reveal what is already there. So this might be a time when you are receiving some money. And what's interesting though, it feels like it's a turning point for a lot of Taurus risings, because the square to the North Node and the South Node, the North Node is in your 11th house. So connecting with other people is very much favored now. You know, having friendships, having community around you, people that you can talk to. A lot of the time, if you have a problem and you put it out to a group of people, people will have solutions, people will have answers, or people will have information. There's very rare, completely original, unique experiences. You just have to go on a Reddit thread to figure that out, but I don't recommend it. But you can find that other people want to help you and assist you with something that you're experiencing at the moment, Taurus. And I would say with the South Node going through the 5th house, some of you could be having a little bit of a period where you're healing your inner child, you're healing your inner child wounds, and maybe that is helping you with your confidence. And this full moon may show you how much you have grown in a confidence level. It can also be with a full moon in the second house that you are releasing some material items as well, maybe pertaining to an ex or the breakup of a relationship, or maybe some stuff that you have from an old relationship you're realizing it's time to let go. Let's get a clarifier for you, Taurus. Clarifier, it's a tarot card. You have the Eight of Pentacles. This is about dedication to your craft. If you're self-employed, I feel like money could absolutely be coming in for you, especially if you have been collaborating with other people in your self-employment. I think for some of you, you could really be working on mastering some sort of skill, Taurus, under this full moon. There could be a lot of communication about your skills. There could be a lot of communication about the work that you do and how to best use that to your advantage. That is what I have for you, Taurus, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Gemini, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in your sign. So Gemini, this full moon is happening in your first house, and that is the house of self. This is you and who you are at your core. So a full moon in the first house can coincide with image changes or wanting to change your image. That can be changing the way that you dress, changing the way that you style your hair, changing your makeup, your skincare. It can also be about how you show up to the world and what your personality is generally. So you might be thinking a little bit more about yourself at this time, and not in an egoistic, narcissistic way, just thinking about who you are and checking in with yourself and what you need to feel comfortable and what you need to feel well. The spotlight could be on you when it comes to the work that you do on a day-to-day basis at your job, the role that you play. You could be very visible because Mercury, your ruling planet and the dispositor of this full moon, is in your sixth house of day-to-day work. So you may be highlighted at this time for the work that you're doing or a project that you are leading. Now, the sixth house is also to do with your wellness and health routines, Gemini, and the connection to the first house with your physical body. Some of you may be deciding to change the way that you look after yourself. You know, maybe you have been unwell or going through a cold, or there has been something coming up with your health with that Mercury retrograde, and you're thinking, I want to change something here. I want to change the way that I eat, the way that I exercise, the way that I rest, whatever it is for you. You may be thinking a little bit more about how to best take care of your physical body and how to look after yourself, with Mercury being in the sixth house. And you may have some assistance in doing so because Mercury is in a grand trine with Saturn and Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is in your second house and Saturn is in your 10th house, so there can be some positive build up with your work. Gemini, you could be recognized for work that you've done, you could be paid for work that you've done, and you could find yourself very much in the spotlight. So I would work with that if that is something that you're looking for. If you're looking for recognition, now is the time to be seen. And this can have positive improvements both for your finances and your self-esteem. In fact, money from what you have worked on in the past can come back to you as well with Jupiter being retrograde. But do pay attention to your health, listen to your body, check in with your body, see what's going on for you. Full moons in your first house can sometimes coincide, particularly with that sixth house connection, to checkups, medical checkups, wellness checkups, and just figuring out how to best take care of you. You could also be seeing the results from something you've been doing health and fitness wise at this time. Let's get you a tarot card, Gemini. We have the World, but we have it in reverse this time. So I think for some of you, maybe there have been some delays or some stagnation or disappointments. Maybe you've been having trouble shaking off a cold, or maybe you have been having trouble finishing a project. This full moon could be when you start to notice things are improving. It is in a square to the North Node in your 10th house, and thus the South Node in your 4th house. And if you've been trying to get something off the ground while Mercury was in retrograde, you know, why bother? Sometimes when you see things happen with people who are not astrology believers and they push on all these big projects and things during Mercury retrograde, and you think this isn't going to go the way that you want and it's going to be disappointing, you kind of wish that most places would actually listen to the astrology on that, but you know, not our place to say so. Maybe people have been pushing projects on you through the Mercury retrograde and it's just not been the time. You may find with this full moon, things are starting to move in the right direction. Delays are starting to be lifted as Mercury is no longer retrograde, and this full moon is the clarity moment where you can get some closure on something that hasn't quite been working out the way that you wanted it to. That is what I have for you, Gemini, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Cancer, welcome to your horoscope for the Gemini full moon happening on December 4th. So Cancer, for the next couple of weeks, you're going to be feeling the effects of this full moon in your 12th house. Now this is a very quiet spot for you. It's very dreamy. It's very much a place of retreat and rest. So you could be finding with this full moon that you're being called to rest and recuperate, to take some time to yourself, to go inward and reflect and maybe do some releasing while you're there. Maybe there are some feelings that you need to let go of, you need to purge, you need to release. Maybe there are some belief systems that you need to let go of. Maybe a particular way of thinking. You may catch under this full moon how you speak to yourself, what your inner narrative is. And if it is unhelpful, Cancer, especially when it comes to how you're parenting your kids or how you are having fun or how you're finding joy in your life or your love life or just your creative creations. For a lot of you Cancer, you may find that if there's an unhelpful narrative going on, this full moon is when it's illuminated. And particularly because it's in this square to the nodes. The north node in your 9th house of Pisces is about growing your belief system. Finding, growth can be very uncomfortable with the north node. That's actually why some people avoid it outright in this lifetime. And it's not helpful that they do that, but it's understandable because the north node can push us into places where we don't feel comfy. And you are the sign that is most fond of being comfy. And with the north node going through your sector of belief systems, you might realize under this full moon that in order to shape your beliefs in a more positive way for you, that you really feel a resonance with, you may have to let go of some day-to-day thoughts and really catch where your mind is affecting you. And I do think with Mercury being in the 5th house, this could be where maybe you have a narrative of what kind of parent you are. Maybe you're very hard on yourself for your parenting. Maybe your love life isn't going the way that you want it to and you're being very hard on yourself about that, or you have negative thoughts about love in general. Or if you're an artist or a creative, you have these creative projects and you're thinking, oh, I'm not very good at this actually. And this full moon is helping you clear that so you can go in better directions when it comes to your beliefs. With a full moon in the 12th, secrets can absolutely be revealed for you. One of your kids might share a secret with you, regardless of what age they are. They can be a toddler that's told you that they've actually flushed your lipstick down the toilet, or it can be an adult kid who's admitting that they're going through a divorce. Whatever the case may be, one of your children may share a secret with you. It can also be that you have an unexpected declaration of love or a romance ends. It can be as well that you're maybe wrapping up or releasing a creative project that you've been working on as well, Cancer. But go easy on yourself. Take time to rest. Your dreams are very vivid and very enlightening. You could dream about a future love. You could have a psychic dream about one of your kids. You could dream of a pregnancy before it occurs. Sometimes 5th house, 12th house connections can foretell pregnancies as well, so that could be true for some of you. Also, Gemini, this full moon could be where you find out that you are pregnant, or it could be when you're giving birth. Let's get you a tarot card, Cancer. I think I just called you Gemini. My mind got looped there. The 12th house, your Gemini 12th house, you are a Cancer. Before you get scared, I am reading for Cancer. Okay, so Cancer, what's your tarot card? Ooh, 6 of Wands, congratulations. Maybe some of you are pregnant. You could be getting some recognition at this point, Cancer, for something that you have been working on or something that you have done. This could be interesting. Maybe a confidence boost is coming your way, so you might learn something unexpected that is indeed a confidence boost to you. That is what I have for you, Cancer, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Leo, welcome to your horoscope for the Gemini full moon. Leo, this full moon is happening in your 11th house. So this is the potential to be quite a social one for you in particular. You might have invitations to spend time with your friends. There could be get-togethers, there could be networking events. Because Mercury is in your 4th house, you could be having friends over to your home, or you could be planning to have friends over to your home. You could have impromptu visits from friends to your house, or you could be hosting social events or networking events or even charity events at your home as well, with Mercury being in the 4th house and the 11th house being activated by this full moon. So there could be a very social over the next couple of weeks, very social times for you. House parties could be a big theme for you over the next couple of weeks, Leo. Attending house parties with your friends, to your friends, or having them in your own home. This full moon can also be a time when there's changes in your friendship circle or within your team. People could come and go when it comes to your team. There could be projects being wrapped up when it comes to your team. But I do think for a lot of you, this one is quite a social full moon. And yes, there could be changes with your friendships. Friends may come or go, but it's most likely for a lot of you, Leo, that this is foretelling significant social events. Now, pay attention to those if they are coming up, because you could actually be moving in interesting new directions because of the square to the nodes. There could be a bit of a karmic crossroads when it comes to a specific friendship in your life, maybe even a friend who is like family, or friends could share some information with you about what they're going through at this time, maybe with their own family or with property. Some of you could also be realizing a property goal at this time, your aspirations for future properties or property developments. The square to the nodes means that you're being called to go in new directions and release the past. For some of you, perhaps this is to do with moving in new directions financially, with loans, mortgages, inheritance. Those things could be very much on the table for a lot of Leo risings at the moment. Sometimes the North Node going through the 8th house can also be where we grow and develop through crises in our life, through huge transformations in our life. And this full moon may show you what friends are there for those times and what friends are not there for those times. Let's get you a tarot card, Leo. Oh, we have the World. Gemini also had the World, but they had it in reverse. Yours is upright. I think there could be some sort of success coming for you at this time. Maybe some of you are traveling. Maybe some of you are completing a cycle in your life. You feel very much like you're at the end of a particular chapter. Maybe you're going to a graduation. Maybe you're going to a birthday. Maybe you're going to a big event, a gala, somewhere where you can network with a lot of people from a lot of different places, and you might meet some people in your social circle or through your social circle, Leo, from very different walks of life, and they could be perhaps helping you with the next part of your journey. That is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Virgo, welcome to your horoscope for the Gemini full moon happening on the 4th of December and what the next 2 weeks have in store for you. So Virgo, this full moon is happening in your 10th house of career, and this is really interesting because Uranus actually entered the sector briefly this year. You had Jupiter there at the start of the year, so there may have been a lot of professional changes, possibly promotions, possibly advancement, or possibly just divine redirection when it comes to your career. This woman is spotlighting your career right now, so you're very much at the forefront. There could be promotion, there could be annual review, there could be an assessment, there could be a job change. Your career is very much in the spotlight over the next couple of weeks, and there'll be very important information shared to you or by you with a boss or a mentor or an authority figure in your career, or information you're sharing on behalf of your business. Mercury, the dispositor, and also your ruling planet, is in the 3rd, and it's in this lovely grand trine with Saturn in the 7th and Jupiter in the 11th. So other people are very likely to have your back at this time. There's opportunities to mingle, to meet connections through your job, through your career. I also think that there could be positive feedback about your career. There could also be information shared with you that is very private or confidential from a boss or from your business, because Mercury has been going through Scorpio. Maybe there has been internal review or research done in your career and this has been brought to light, or maybe this is being shared with you, or maybe you have something you really need to say when it comes to your work, when it comes to your job. You have something that you need to tell, you have something that you need to express, you've been thinking about it, you've been back and forth on it, you've noticed a pattern and you want to express it. Now it's very important for you, Virgo, that you do release this tendency to be super duper hard on yourself, super critical on yourself, to blame yourself for everything, to need to get everything right as an individual. You're being asked to connect with other people, to work as a pair, to work as a collaboration, to connect more socially through your career and through your job, and to share the burden with other people, not to take everything on yourself, and also to let other people make mistakes as well. It just happens to be that for the most part, you guys are usually right about everything. So it can be frustrating when other people aren't as on the ball. but you are being asked to move in the direction of collaboration with the North Node in the 7th house. So it may be at this time of this full moon that a business partnership or an alliance, what's the word? Reveals reveals itself. That's the key term of the full moon, reveal. So you may be finding under this full moon that there are allyships forming in your career, you're connecting with other people through your job, or you are going through some sort of recognition, promotion, or career change at this time. Or if you're looking for a career change or a job, it may present itself to you at this time through the internet, through an app, through social media, with Mercury in the 3rd. Let's have a look at your tarot card, Virgo. The Hermit, very appropriate. This is your card. Okay, so the full moon, listen, the full moon is in your very public sector. So maybe you are finding this uncomfortable and you're feeling the need to retreat and to go inward with the South Node in your sign. You can do both. You can look inward and reflect and then be seen. If there's something that you need to figure out first before you put yourself out there, by all means, but just be mindful of putting yourself into solitude too much at a time you are meant to grow through your relationships, and in this case, professional relationships. That is what I have for you, Virgo, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Libra, welcome to your horoscope for the Gemini full moon. This is happening on the 4th of December, and these effects can last up to 2 weeks. So you could be seeing a significant development, Libra, when it comes to your 9th house. Now this is travel. This can be that you're traveling in the next couple of weeks. This can be that you're planning to travel. This can be that travel plans are coming to light. And this may be something that you are spending money on because the dispositor Mercury is in your 2nd house of income and finance. So you could be spending money on a trip, you could be spending money on a vacation or a relocation, Libra, for some of you. It could also be that because the 9th house rules higher education, you could be spending money on higher education, or maybe even obtaining a grant or getting money, receiving money for higher education, or figuring out the costs of your higher education. There can be a connection between finances and your college or university experience. The 9th house is, though, also about your belief systems and your religious and spiritual beliefs. And in terms of any perspective shifts that you might be going through, Libra, within that area with this full moon, it's very likely strongly connected to your values with Mercury going through the 2nd house. The 2nd house is money, yes, but it's also values. So you could be reconsidering your values, or you could have been reconsidering your values with the Mercury retrograde and getting some clarity now on what it is that you believe or what belief system works best for you. Now, this full moon, it's not an eclipse, no, but it is squaring the nodes. And for you, Libra, the North Node is going through your 6th house and the South Node is going through your 11th house. So with the North Node going through your 6th house, you could be growing the work that you do, the services that you provide, the job that you do with the North Node there. That can be shifting, that can be changing. There can be fated changes aligning with that. So maybe with your job, you have to go back to school or have to go back to university to get the job that you want, or to, maybe you have to do training for it, or there's some sort of education process involved when it comes to your job. It can also be that with this one, maybe some of you are actually relocating for your job or relocating for work. That could be also something that's happening. Or just what's happening in your day-to-day experience and how your day-to-day experience is shifting and changing. It could be changing your perspective of the world. With the South Node going through Virgo for you, Libra, which is your 12th house, a lot of you are letting go of some deep-seated emotional stuff. You're letting go of some subconscious patterns. You're letting go of this emotional debris, I would say, with the 12th house. The South Node going through the sector can be a time of clearing for sure. The South Node is about clearing in general, but going through the 12th house, you might be noticing that there's been a lot of endings or a lot of letting go, profound shifts in the chapters of life that you're in, especially with the outer planets. And so with this full moon, that can absolutely be showing you what it is that you believe in now after this clearing or these new directions that you've been going through. Let's get you a tarot card for this full moon, Libra. Eight of Cups, walking away. Some of you are actually walking away from something, releasing what doesn't serve. Maybe you are moving, literally moving, relocating, moving on from a job, moving on from a relationship, whatever the case may be, Libra. You may be deciding that it's time to move. Although the Eight of Cups can actually just be seen as taking a journey. And with a full moon in the ninth house, you could absolutely be moving on to something new. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Scorpio, welcome to your horoscope for the Gemini full moon. Scorpio, this full moon is happening on December 4th and we'll be feeling the effects in the 2 weeks that follow. And for you, Scorpio, this full moon is happening in your 8th house, and that house tends to make people nervous, but not so much you because the 8th house is your natural domain. Now, it's particularly intimate and personal for you because the dispositor Mercury is in your sign. So this is a time for you to talk. This is a time for you to discuss. This is a time for you to express. Especially if you've been back and forth on whether to say the thing or express the thing. You may notice a pattern in your life playing out with the full moon in the 8th house, and you feel that the best way to break that pattern is to discuss it. In fact, often the greatest change comes from the acknowledgement part. So you might be acknowledging a pattern that you find destructive, you find unhelpful, and you feel it's time to change it. You could be working with a therapist or whatever way that healing comes up for you. You could absolutely be working through a pattern, working through past emotional traumas, working through emotional baggage. You could be releasing a lot of pent-up feelings and expressing them verbally. You could also be clocking some patterns within yourself that you would like to change that you find unhelpful. You know, Mercury in your sign, that could be just from talking to yourself out loud. That can just be writing in your journal or talking out loud when you're feeling a bit confused and sort of getting this clarity on what's really going on for you emotionally. You could notice that you're a little bit more triggered than usual. Sit with it, see where it comes up in your body, see where you feel it, and see if you can actually name it, because it'll be a very healing time for you instead of going down a more destructive route. And you could go down a more destructive route because Mercury in your sign is going to oppose Uranus. Within the week, I believe, around the 10th, I think it's exact, Mercury opposes Uranus, where you could, cause some damage in relationships if you're not feeling emotionally, if you're not emotionally checking in with yourself. With Mercury in your sign in this beautiful grand trine with Saturn and Jupiter, you can find the words that you need now to be healing and to flow and to express yourself and to essentially heal. The North Node is in your 5th house and the nodes are in a square with this full moon. So you may be expressing something when it comes to a pattern that you have about love or about parenting or about your creativity. There may be something gets uprooted there. And it can also be past pain pertaining to loss of friendships or loss of social connections in your life as well that you've maybe moved away from since the South Node went into your 11th house. You know, the South Node going through the 11th house can sometimes take you away from your friendships. Maybe sometimes your focus is on your kids or your focus is on your love life and you feel like your circle is diminishing, and that can be painful. So you might be dealing with those feelings as well. Some of you, Scorpio, could be processing grief at this time, processing very deep emotions that need to be felt, and it is time to release under this full moon. Let's get you a tarot card for this full moon, Scorpio. King of Wands, natural born leader. I love this for you. Fire sign people, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, emphasis on Aries could be very much to the fore for you at the time of this full moon. These could be people that you're connecting with. But it could also be that you're just feeling very passionate, you're feeling very creative at this time, and there's something that you're working on, and you may be clearing through some self-doubts or inhibitions to get towards that goal. That's what I have for you, Scorpio, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to the full moon in Gemini horoscope for your sign. So Sagittarius, this full moon is happening in your 7th house of relationships and partnerships. Now, this is highlighting these relationships. So there could be something going on for you at this time with a partnership, with a relationship in your life, maybe a milestone, maybe a significant event like an engagement, maybe a marriage, maybe a birth within a relationship, moving in together. It could even be splitting up for some people, breakups, divorces, or it can just be that there's something significant going on for you with a partner at this time. Now, what's interesting is that Mercury, the dispositor of this full moon, is in the 12th house of secrets and privacy. So for you, it could be that someone close to you in your life is sharing a secret with you, Sagittarius. They might have something to tell you that they've been back and forth on whether to let you know or how to let you know. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Mercury's in a grand trine after all. It could actually be quite healing to get this out in the open. It could be as well that this is a secret proposal, for example, for some of you. But I think for a lot of you, this is simply putting how you connect with others into your periphery. So Mercury in the 12th, that's where you can notice, you can clock with your mind any self-sabotaging behavior when it comes to connection, or any patterns of behavior when it comes to connection that are no longer serving you, that are not healthy for you when it comes to connecting with other people. It can also be that a secret comes out about someone in your life that you weren't expecting, that you wouldn't have seen coming. With Mercury being in Scorpio, something they've been keeping very private. You might learn something about somebody close to you that you really didn't anticipate, but it may actually help you in some way, or it may help them with that grand trine. For a lot of Sagittarius risings, this full moon can also be where a new relationship is developing, but this could be something that you're wanting to keep quiet for now. Some of you could absolutely be moving in with a partner, or relocating with a partner, or changing residence because of something happening within a relationship. Because the full moon is squaring the nodes. North node is in the 4th house of home, family, relocation, property. So you could be moving for some of you because of developments and changes within a relationship. Let's get you a tarot card, Sagittarius. Some of you could also be starting a family with a relationship. I think some of you could be getting married actually, because the Three of Wands is your card, and in this particular tarot deck, the Three of Wands has a bride and groom on it. So some of you could be traveling for love, or there could be a level up in your love life, or you could be manifesting a significant other, Sagittarius, that hasn't quite come to fruition in the 3D yet, but is very much happening behind the scenes. That's what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Capricorn, welcome to your horoscope for the Gemini full moon. Capricorn, this full moon is happening for you in your 6th house, and this is about your day-to-day work. So over the next couple of weeks, the next 2 weeks, you could see developments happening at your job, in your place of work, with the work that you do. There could be, for some of you, a social event coming up at your job, because Mercury, the dispositor of this full moon, is in your 11th house of social networking. So maybe there are some workplace events coming up, Christmas parties, end of year parties, office parties. Maybe these are happening and you're getting to socialize with people at your job, and you could make some really great connections, Capricorn, whether these people end up being friends or whether these people end up being romantic relationships, because Mercury is in a grand trine with Jupiter in the 7th and Saturn in the 3rd for you. So you could make some really good connections through any events happening at your workplace. And it's important for you, Capricorn, to go towards communication and new social connections, and maybe being more active on social media as well as part of your job, or with the work that you do, or the projects that you're working on. Because the North Node is in a square with this full moon, and it's in the 3rd house. So there is sort of this crossroads of how you want to communicate with people, or how you want to network with people. It can also be that there's training coming up pertaining to your job. Some of you could be studying, some of you could be learning something new to advance your job or your career, and this full moon could be a peak of that. So that can bring emotions about your job or your work to the fore, or it can bring opportunities to study to the fore as well. But I think for a lot of you, Capricorn, this full moon is bringing up events in your job, especially if you're part of a team, or if you have a social media business. The work that you do could certainly be highlighted at this point, and there could be opportunities. Some of you could be moving jobs. Some of you could be getting a promotion, a bonus. There could be something happening with a team that you work with. Maybe you're just finishing off a project that has been taking quite a while to complete, with Mercury being in the 11th house and having gone through its retrograde cycle. So something significant happening at the workplace at this time, maybe shifts and developments in your team. And if there are changes happening in your team, they're likely for the best, and they might align you with people that you're more compatible with, or deepen relationships with people there as well. Your tarot card, Capricorn, was the Lovers. So I think for a lot of you, if you're single, you could certainly meet somebody through your job, or you could meet somebody through the gym or through your everyday experience. It could be that a significant relationship is forming in your life. It could be romantic or it could be business. There could be some sort of connection coming to the fore here, Capricorn. Or it could be with this one that maybe you and your partner are going to work on a project together. That could be happening as well. And that is what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Aquarius, welcome to your horoscope for the Gemini full moon. Aquarius, this full moon is happening on December 4th, and you'll be feeling the effects of it for the next couple of weeks. So this full moon for you is happening in your 5th house. Now this is highlighting your love life if you're dating or you're seeing somebody. This full moon is very much highlighting romantic affairs. And if it is not to do with romance, it could be to do with your children if you have them, or important children in your life. And by children, this can be your adult children, your grown children, as well as your young children. And it can also be creative projects or fun. So when there's a full moon in the 5th house, Aquarius, oftentimes opportunities to have a good time come up. Parties, social events, concerts, theatre trips, pantomimes this time of year. And this one for you could be linked to your job because Mercury, the dispositor, is in the 10th house. So there could be a professional party going on at this time within the next couple of weeks. There could be a workplace event that's happening that could be a lot of fun for you, Aquarius. It could also be that maybe you are highlighting your artistic talents or hobbies publicly as well. But I do think for most of you, this is going to be about socializing and having a good time through your job. Or maybe you find this is just an area of life that is opening you up to maybe romantic opportunities. There could be romance blossoming with someone that you work with, or someone that you are professionally connected to, or someone who is in a prominent position of some sorts. They're kind of a public figure, or they're a boss or an entrepreneur or something like that for some of you. And if you have children, there could be something that they are achieving at this point. Maybe they are graduating, maybe they are getting a promotion, maybe they're getting married. There might be something going on with a child that you would like to spotlight, that you're very proud of. Now, this full moon is in a square to the nodes, and the north node for you is in the 2nd house. So for some of you, this could be a matter of going to a party connected to your job, and it aligns you with an opportunity that can help you make more money, or it can help you grow your finances, or it can help you with your confidence, it can help you with your self-esteem. With the north node going through the 2nd house, that's the direction you're going in, Aquarius. Being very clear in your values, new sources of income, new ways of making money. And it could surprise you that if you go to a work event, you find yourself networking with people who maybe can help you do that, or people who maybe can help you move in new directions that improve your self-esteem or allow you to grow. But certainly full moons in the 5th house, these can also be pregnancies, births, or it can highlight your children significantly, Aquarius. So pay attention to this full moon. It could bring about a lot of opportunities for fun, especially connected to your job, your workplace, or even a goal of yours, something that you've been working towards. This could be a very fun full moon. Or if you're having a nice time with your kids, or you're going to a fun social event, you might post pictures on social media that could be very popular. Your tarot card, Aquarius, is the 2 of Wands. This is about charting a new course. There could be opportunities, there could be luck coming up for you with a full moon in the 5th house, and you could be perhaps discovering a creative talent of yours that you didn't even know you had. That's what I have for you, Aquarius, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Pisces, welcome to your horoscope for the Gemini full moon. So Pisces, this full moon is happening in your 4th house, which is your sector of home and family and property matters. So for you Pisces, over the next couple of weeks, there could be a change here. This could be where you are moving, you're buying a house, you're putting down an offer on a house, you find a house, you sell a house, you renovate, you redecorate, someone moves in, someone moves out. There could be family events going on for you at this time. and your family could be very much in the spotlight at this point. You could be maybe be spending more time from home as well with a full moon in the fourth house. But what's interesting about this, Pisces, is that the full moon is in a very, local, homely sector for you. The dispositor is away off in the ninth house. Some of you could be planning to travel to see family. Family could be traveling to see you. You could be booking a trip with family, taking a trip with family. There could be some sort of travel involved, and some of you could even be relocating to a different country or planning to relocate to a different country. This full moon can bring clarity about your next literal move, or what you want to do with your home, or what you want to change within your home or change within your family. And this could be to do with shifting beliefs as well, with Mercury being in the ninth house. You're wanting to explore new horizons, maybe look in different areas, consider where you want to live in the future. Mercury is in a beautiful grand trine with Jupiter and Saturn being in your sign, so you're taking this quite seriously. The North Node, which is squaring this full moon, is also in your sign. You're taking these new directions very seriously, very personally. And Jupiter's in your fifth house, so maybe this is to support a pregnancy or a birth or having children. You want to change your home or move because of that. Or maybe you want to move to a location that has better opportunities for dating or romance, with Jupiter being in the fifth house. But with the square to the nodes, I think for a lot of you, you're looking to grow your living space where you live and shape your living sector to fit who you are becoming. Because with the North Node in your sign, you're exploring all these different versions of yourself, Pisces, and you may have outgrown one particular place. And so you're looking for somewhere new. That could be something that's happening for you at this time. Let's get you a tarot card, Pisces, and see what comes up for you. We have the Eight of Swords. So some of you could actually be feeling a little bit anxious, which would be normal because Saturn is in your sign. So some of you could maybe find that where you're living is a little bit restrictive, or you feel a little bit trapped where you're living, or you can't quite see what you want to do next with a living situation or a family matter, and you could be maybe feeling a little bit negative, a little bit doom and gloom about it. And this full moon could actually be the moment you get clarity, you get information, and you realize where maybe there has been a limiting belief, or you have been getting in your own way when it comes to making a change with your living situation or addressing something within your family, Pisces. It's not easy having Saturn in your sign and the North Node, because it's forcing you to grow a lot and to mature a lot and to be responsible and to carry a lot on your shoulders. And perhaps under this full moon, there are some things that you need to release emotionally. The fourth house is also quite an emotional place. And perhaps you need to release some emotions to get more of a bird's eye perspective on what you need to do next. That's what I have for you, Pisces, and I'll talk to you soon.